Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hero Board Podcast. I'm your host, Hero Board. Today we have UFC 319, Duplessis versus Chimaev. I'm gonna be breaking down the main card, giving you guys my picks and bets. But without further ado, let me dap you guys up and let's get into it. Starting with the main card opener of Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. Tim Elliott hasn't fought since October of 2023 when he lost by head and arm triangle choke to Muhammad Mokaev. And Kaya Sakura, he last fought in December of last year against the current flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja. So with this fight, we have Tim Elliott, who's a well-rounded fighter. He has solid striking, solid jiu-jitsu, solid wrestling. Whereas Kaya Sakura is more of a specialist. He has elite striking, great footwork. He has power in his hands, good combinations. When he is striking, he has his hands low. Like when he's firing, he has his hands at the hips. He can be countered, but he's very fast. So he's usually the one who's dishing out the damage. But with this fight, I think with Tim Elliott coming off a nearly 2-year layoff, being 37 now. I think I'm gonna say Kyle Sakura is gonna win this fight by knockout in either rounds 1 or 2. I'm just gonna pick the younger, faster fighter. I think Kyle Sakura can get his first win in the UFC. Melly, he has a chance for sure. He can take down Kai and submit him, but I'm gonna say it's more likely that Kai gets knocked out in this fight. So Kyle Sakura by knockout. I'm gonna say round 1. He's a big favorite in this fight. I believe like minus 300 above that. So yeah, I'll take Kai. Moving up next, middleweight division. We got Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Jared Cannonier in his last fight, he won by a fourth round knockout against Gregory Rodriguez. And MVP last fought in February and he won by a 30-27 unanimous decision against Sarah Bullet Magomedov. Jared Cannonier, he has good striking, he has good wrestling, he has an ability to hold people against the fence. It's his physicality, whereas MVP is one of the best strikers in the UFC. He has elite footwork and distance management. He's very hard to get reach of. He's very hard to close the distance on. And he has good initial takedown defense. Although when he does get taken down, he's like a turtle off his back and a turtle on the mat. But with this fight, Jared Cannonier in his last few fights against Nasruddin Imavov, he got knocked out. After that, against Kyle Bohario, he almost got knocked out in round 5. And in his last fight against Gregory Rodriguez, he almost got knocked out in round 1. So I think MVP, I think he's gonna be hard for Jared to close the distance on. Jared is more of a counter striker too. When he gets matched up against a guy like Israel Adesanya, for example, he was pretty much not even in the fight. He wasn't really throwing. He couldn't get to Izzy. He couldn't match his footwork. And I think it's gonna be more of the same in this fight. I think MVP is probably more elusive than Israel Adesanya, and I think he passed more of a punch too. So with this fight, I'm gonna say MVP's gonna win this fight. I'm gonna say by decision. He's not outpoint Cannonier. I think Cannonier's tough, so he's gonna be able to stay in it. But I think the way he's been looking in his recent fights, been getting dropped and knocked out. I think MVP's gonna win this one. Next up, we got a banger in the welterweight division between Jeff Neal and Carlos Prates. And Jeff Neal, we have a southpaw boxer. He usually has like 1-2 combinations. He has a head kick as well that he likes to throw, and he tends to move forward on a straight line with the high guard. And then we have Carlos Prates, who's a Muay Thai striker. He has great length. He has a 78-inch reach in this division, 6'1", which is crazy at welterweight to have that kind of reach. And he tends to start slow in his fights, but he tends to build up in rounds 2 and 3. He has one punch knockout power, like how he knocked out Neil Magny. He has great timing. He has great distance management, and he likes to throw his left cross. He likes to throw knees either in the clinch or up the middle. In his last fight against Ian Gary, Ian Gary was able to negate his left cross due to having a right head kick that he was using, and he was able to use movement against Carlos Prates to be able to keep him at bay. Prates, he does usually stay in his opponent's face, but he does have um, good defense. He likes to roll with shots and whatnot. But with this fight, I think this is an easier fight. I think this fight is tailor made for Carlos Prates because Jeff Neal is just going to stay in front of him, unlike Ian Gary, who's going to stick and move. And I think Carlos Prates just has more weapons. He has more variety of weapons with the knees, the kicks, and I think he just has more power. So I could see this fight going longer than people are expecting. You see that Carlos Prates is a finisher. Maybe you think he'll get a knockout in like round 2 or something, but I wouldn't be surprised if Carlos Prates got a knockout in like round 3. But I'm gonna say Carlos Prates wins a banker, probably like a 29-28 unanimous decision against Jeff Neal. I could see Jeff Neal having a good fight as a decent underdog, but I'm gonna say Carlos Prates is gonna win this one, but it's gonna be a banger. Possibly fight of the night. So we'll have to see. Definitely looking forward to this one. Next up in the featherweight division, the co-main event of the evening, we have Lerone Murphy with a record of 16-0-1, and Aaron Pico with a record of 13-4. Lerone Murphy won his last fight against Josh Emmett, whereas Aaron Pico is making his UFC debut coming from PFL and Bellator. He has a record of 13-4. Lerone Murphy's gonna have a 3-inch reach advantage in this fight. With this fight, we have a fighter who likes to stick and move and stay on the outside in Lerone Murphy. He has a solid ability to get up once he's taken down on the ground. He has a variety of kicks. He has spinning back kicks to the body. He has oblique kicks. He doesn't really let his hands go too often, but when he does, he can be accurate. With his hands, he has solid combinations. And then we have Aaron Pico, who is a high-level wrestler and he's a high-level boxer. He has great combinations with his boxing. He likes to throw hooks to the head and then hooks to the body. Usually like 3 punch combinations. Start with the jab and then left hook to the head and left hook to the body. I think Lerone Murphy, once he gets pressured, I think that's when he tends to struggle. And I think against a guy like Aaron Pico, I think that's the recipe for disaster. In his fight against Dan Ige, he got dropped in the first round of his last fight against Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett was having success and he was very close to knocking out Lerone Murphy, but Lerone Murphy was just able to get out of danger. But I think with this fight, Aaron Pico, where I see him as like a younger version of like Josh Emmett, but faster at this point in his career. And I think him having the takedown threat, I think is just going to make it harder for Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy, he does have a good ability to get back up to his feet, but he does get taken down quite a bit in his fights. And I think Aaron Pico is just going to be too much for him here. I think Aaron Pico could get a knockout around 1 just based off Lerone Murphy. When he backs up, he has his chin in the air. I think Aaron Pico, he can catch him like a left hook while he's pressuring him up against the fence. In order for Lerone Murphy to win, he's going to have to outpoint Aaron Pico to a decision, and he's going to have to stay safe throughout the fight, pretty much be perfect. And I don't think I like his chances in that. So I'm going to say Aaron Pico is going to win this fight by a first round knockout in the co-main event of the evening. And moving on to the main event of the evening, we have the reigning UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis versus Hamzat Boris Chimaev. Dricus du Plessis has a record of 23 wins, 2 losses, whereas Hamzat Chimaev has a perfect professional record at 14 wins, no losses. So, with this fight, it's pretty much a consensus agreement that it's DDP late and Hamzat early. Hamzat Chimaev is the best first round fighter in UFC history. He 10-8'd Kamaru Usman. He's submitted Kevin Holland by Darce choke. He submitted Robert Whitaker by a rear naked choke in his last fight and broke his teeth. Yeah, he's pretty much unstoppable in the first round if he gets his takedown. And he shoots it from like half of the octagon away from his opponent. It's very fast, hard for his opponent to get the underhooks. And the only person that's really had resistance to his first shot in the first round is Gilbert Burns. And Gilbert Burns is a high level black belt, and he has a high level jiu-jitsu game off of his back. But Hamza Chimaev, once you can get past that first round and get him into the second, third round, that's when he tends to slow down. And usually with this fights, he's either striking or he's wrestling. He's not really like mixing in the striking with the wrestling. In the Gilbert Burns fight, he abandoned the takedowns after round one and he was exclusively striking, and that was his closest fight. But Hamza Chimaev, he does have knockout power in the feet. He does have one punch knockout power. He knocked out Gerald Meerschaert with a right straight early on in his career. He doesn't have great defense, mostly because he hasn't really had to have great defense at this point, just because he's been running through everybody. But at times he can keep his head on the center line, and he usually has a high guard, which makes him susceptible to body shots. And then we have the reigning UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis, who's coming off of a 50-45 unanimous decision win against the former middleweight champion Sean Strickland in his last fight. Dricus du Plessis, you've seen the memes. Dricus to win by banana peel slipping. Dricus to win by falling piano. Dricus is going to paint a hole in the center of the octagon, and his opponent's going to fall through. He's a plot armor fighter. He's a definition of plot armor. But he has awkward striking. He comes from the kickboxing background, but the way he fights like a blitz, and he likes to have combinations, but he'll mix up the attack. Sometimes maybe he'll throw like a jab cross, and then he'll end the combination with like a kick or a spinning back fist, and to throw his opponent off target. And he has solid wrestling as well. Doesn't have the most textbook takedowns, but it's effective, which is pretty much the analysis of his style, which pretty much it's not pretty, but it's effective. And he has good jiu-jitsu as well. Most notably, he submitted like a whole Gracie Barra team, like beat them back to back. But he has the 5-round experience in this fight. He's gone 5 rounds with Sean Strickland twice. He's gone 4 rounds with Israel Adesanya. Won those fights. He has good power as well. He's like a gorilla on rollerblades. That's the way he fights. He's very stocky, built individual, and in this fight, I think this is one of the rare times where somebody can match either of these fighters in physicality. Hamzat in round 1, he's going to be a handful to deal with, but Dricus is not going to back down from the threat of Hamzat's takedown. I think the way he's been talking this week, the way he's been talking leading up to the fight, he's going to try to meet Hamzat head on, and we'll see what happens when that happens. But with this fight, I think Dricus is going to be able to survive that initial round 1 surge. I don't see him getting submitted in round 1. I think Dricus has solid defense once he gets taken down. Sure, he's pulled Jared or not Jared, Derek Brunson to a takedown. And he's gotten taken down by Robert Whitaker, but Robert Whitaker is a good wrestler. I just think once Dricus does get taken down, he usually gets back up. And in MMA, you're eventually going to get taken down, but it's all about can you get back up. I think Dricus has shown ability to get back up. Hamzat is probably, in my opinion, he is the best wrestler in the UFC right now, and probably either the first or second best wrestler in UFC history, either him or Habib Nurmagomedov. But I think round two, Dracus is still going to be in it, and then rounds 3, 4, and 5 for Dracus is going to be building up confidence, and Hamzat he's going to be fading. He isn't going to be as aggressive as he was in rounds 1 and 2, and I think 3, 4, and 5 Dracus takes over, starts landing combinations with vicious intent, and I think he ultimately gets Hamza out of there. I'm gonna say like a round 4. I was thinking decision at first. I could see that as well, but I think Hamza's defense on the feet is not going to be enough to compete with Dracus in rounds 3, 4, and 5. And I think Dracus Duplessis is ultimately going to find a knockout in round 4. This fight could go either way. This is a tough fight to predict, but I think Dracus, his toughness, his fight IQ, every fight usually comes with a different game plan. In the Robert Whitaker fight, he was intercepting Robert Whitaker's blitz with a jab. In the Sean Strickland fight, he wanted to mix in takedowns towards the end of the rounds just because he knew the striking would be close. And in the second Strickland fight, he was pairing Strickland's jab and jabbing with Sean Strickland and throwing kicks and overhands to disrupt Strickland's timing. And then the Adesanya fight, he mixed it up beautifully against Izzy and ultimately found a rear naked choke submission in round 4. And yeah, I just trust his fight IQ. I trust his toughness, and I think he's a better striker in this fight. If Hamza gets a submission in rounds 1 or 2, it is what it is. But until Dracus Duplessis loses, I'm not betting against Dracus. As far as bets, I like the over 2.5 and 1.5 rounds in Carlos Prates and Jeff Neal. That's a good bet to make. With Aaron Pico, LaRon Murphy, I like the under 2.5. Honestly, I think Aaron Pico gets in out of there. I said round 1 knockout for Pico. Uh, Aaron Pico to win by TKO or KOs plus 380 plus 390 some places. Also for the Prates and Neal fight, you could bet Carlos Prates to win, but the fight to start at round 2. I think that's a great bet as well. Pico wins round 1 plus 650, plus 600 some places, plus 800 on Unibet. Okay, interesting. But Jessica Andrade and Lupe Godinez, I think with this fight, it's a prelim fight. I think the way Lupe Godinez likes to fight, she likes to stay in boxing range and in front of her opponent. I think that's a good matchup for Jessica Andrade at plus money. I think Andrade, the key to beating her is you have to be able to stick and move. You have to have great footwork, like a Yan Xiaonan. Otherwise, she's just gonna use her physicality and get to you with like a left hook in boxing range, or be able to take you down. I think now that she's in the strawweight division where she was a former champion, I think she can impose her physicality better at this weight class, unlike how she was at flyweight against like a Jasmine Jasudavicius, who was a great wrestler. But yeah, Jessica Andrade at plus money would be a good bet. I also have some picks on prize picks. Let me get to the Gerald Mearshart and Mikhail Oleksiejczuk go either way, honestly. That's like handicapper's worst nightmare when it comes to predicting fights. Either Oleksiejczuk wins by knockout early, or um, Mearshart wins by submission. But I like Chase Hooper against Alexander Hernandez. He's a hefty favorite, minus 320, minus 300 range. I think he wins inside the distance. Let me check on those odds. Hooper to win by TKO/KO plus 600, but I think Hooper wins inside the distance minus 105 minus 105 plus 142. I think that's the move in this fight. Hernandez's defense and cardio isn't good, so Chase Hooper, great jiu-jitsu. He's improved his striking game. I think he can be able to outlast a guy like Alexander Hernandez. But let me get these prize picks out. Let me see what I had. On Flip, I have Jessica Andrade money line plus 115. Aaron Pico money line minus 190. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates the over 1.5 at minus 195. And I have Michael Venom Page money line minus 215. Four leg parlay plus 627 odds. I could see hitting. Realistic. And then on FanDuel, I have Dricus Duplessis money line. That's one of my bets. I bet a little bit on Dricus, a little $5 on Dricus to 113. I also have a parlay. I think it's like a 3-leg parlay. I had the fight to go the distance, and Jeff Neal and Carlos Prates, Aaron Pico money line, and MVP money line. But let me see the odds, not real quick. MVP minus 196 on the money line. Fight to go distance, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. I think that's great value, plus 124. I think this could be a 3-round fight, man. Both these guys are durable, like I said. In the breakdown, both these guys have a good defense. Aaron Pico minus 164 on the money line. I think this is his fight to lose against Lerone Murphy. Although Lerone Murphy's the veteran in the UFC, I think Aaron Pico stylistically, this is his fight. And that was parlay. 3-leg parlay. I originally had Brian Battle as well, but that fight got canceled due to his weight miss. But I bet $6 plus 764 odds, won $32.67. But on prize picks, I got a 5-pick flex play. I got Edson Barbosa and Drakkar Close combination over 103.5 significant strikes. I think this fight is gonna go the distance most likely. Both these guys, good strikers, especially Edson Barbosa. I think the over is a play in that fight. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. I got the fight going under 12.75 minutes. I think Chase Hooper finds a submission, I'll say, in round 2 in that fight. Kyle Sakura under 46.5 significant strikes in the opener to the main card. I think either he finds a knockout in round 1 or 2, or Tim Elliott is taking him down and he's off of his back, so he's not able to get significant strikes. Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates, I think this fight is going to go longer, so I went with Jeff Neal over 45.5 significant strikes. I think Carlos Prates, especially in that first round, he can be hit, and I think Jeff Neal can put some punches and bunches together and be able to get the over in this line. And then Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico, I went with the less than 55.5 significant strikes. I think Aaron Pico is going to be mixing in takedowns, and I think the threat of the wrestling plus Aaron Pico's power is to make Lerone Murphy want to stay on the outside, stay safe, not want to engage in the fire as much. He typically doesn't want to engage in the fire, and this fight is even more of a reason not to. So Lerone Murphy, less than 55.5 significant strikes. But that'll do it for this episode of the Hair Report Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so I can grow and be able to reach out to other people. But I'll catch you guys on another episode of the Herb Report podcast. Hope you guys enjoy UFC 319. Peace.